a create applications buttons here. You should be able to see the big green buttons named create applications. Then you click this, let it run for a while. Then you should be able to see a page name course editions here. Right? You should let me know if you can't see this or you didn't manage to create a page like this. Then you can try to run applications for these sections by clicking the Run Applications buttons here. Then you will be taken to this page where you are required to insert the usernames and then the password for your to create a form page. Okay, let me sign this first, right? Okay, then you should be able to get these course editions, and you can explain this on your own first before when I'm answering the questions to Inola Misaki. You can't follow the create the forms page. So, okay, then I should start from the app builder assumes, right? You can't follow from the create buttons once I click the create buttons here, right? Or the steps starting from here. And then if you didn't respond, then I assume that you can't follow from this step onwards. So to create a form, or create an applications, you click so this is your the main page of your Oracle Apex. So you created the apps. So which step you can't follow? Or do you think it's better for me to repeat again of how you can create a form? Okay, then, okay, I assume that you have clicked this, the create buttons here, then you click this, and then you click the new applications, right? So you will have this interface. You should have this page, create applications. Then you can give a name, like for the example, you can give a course registration system because this is what stated in your lab sheets. Then after that, you can click the add page here. And click this, then you should choose the forms here. Okay, so do you mean that you can add a page or you manage to create an application now, right? Or a form for these sections? Okay, so this will be like the page that you have created. You can navigate from these navigations panes here, where you will see another two options here after the next sections. So when you create a form, you can see that you can insert the course or the course code or course title. So any attribute that you define in your tables into your database without using the insert into a command. So, but then users are not able to see the data in these entities. When you have only this form, they're only allowed to insert values or records into these table name course, right? So then you can look at the sections next page where you're allowed to see the data in the your tables in the tables. So this will be the system that I have created. So and in this approach, you are going to create a page using create page wizard. After you have done creating the applications, you can click the create page to add pages into those applications that you have created. Right. So you should click this create page button, and you're going to select a form in this lab sheet. For this lab, you click form, and you are going to select report with forms. So there are two components here in this page. One is named report, and the other one is named form. So remember that we can only insert data using the form functions, and then you can see the data with the report when you create a page using these report with forms options. Then you should click this, Then you should have this a page or interface, a small windows like this. Then for this lab, we are going to create a classic reports like this. Then you can click classic reports, and you can change like the number of report page number to any number that you like. Then because for this a lab, we are going to stick with 3 and then form page number 4. So for the report page name, we are going to give a name called student listings. So this will be the name for the report. And you can imagine a report containing all the records from the tables, name a student in this case. Then you should also give name to the form. These are required when you're trying to create a report with forms. Then you can leave everything as default. Then after this, you can click the next button. I hope you can insert a name for the report and a name for the form after this. And we are using classic reports in this lab. After this, you can click the next button. And then you have the options to whether to insert a navigation menus here. So if you click create a new navigation menu entry, you will see names here. 2 more like options here for you to click after you have done creating or inserting the page. So for this tutorial, we are going to create a new navigation menu entry. Then you can give a name for the entry. Like in this case, we are going to use student listings. You can experience this on your own and play with this, whether you should click a home or course additions, depends on the functions of your applications. But for this lab, we are going to click on no parent selectors, which is a default of these options. After this, you can click the next buttons. So you have to define the data source for your report. So imagine that we are going to see a student's name and those student details in our report. So we are going to select the student entity or tables from this table or view names options here. And click this, and then you should choose the student tables. So the columns here, those attribute names should be presented in this the right columns. So this will be the attributes or the column that you're going to see in the report. Right. So after this, you can click the next button. And then it will ask you to select the primary key for these entities. And in this case, we have defined the primary key to be the student ID. Right? We have only one primary key here in the student tables. And then you should select the student ID as the primary key in these primary key columns. And we should leave this secondary key column blank because we don't have a composite primary keys. Right? So once you have done selecting the primary key, you can click the create buttons. And then for this lab, we are not going to modify the form or enhance the form. You can just click save and then run. So the run is actually on the top right of your page. There's a green play buttons here. You can click this. So you can close this to not confuse you. So you can see that this will be the report that we got with the students tables. We are going to see those of every students in these tables. So the first one, remember that we inserted a student name ratio maintenance. So this is similar actually to the select then wildcard asterisk from students. But then you don't have to type that command because you can see it directly from this report. Then users can also interact with this database by edit. They can edit by clicking this the pencils icons here, the edit buttons. So they can click this. So you can see that those users are allowed to change the student names in case this student change his or her name or birth date, and then the student country. So this is how you can edit a record or update the record, right? So once you have done with updating, then you can click the apply changes here. So the blue buttons here, or if you decide to delete, then you can click the delete buttons here. So I'm going to show you the delete functions. So it prompts you to prompt for your confirmations whether you want to delete these. You can click delete, then you can see, oh, sorry, I can't delete because I have these student names referenced in the student course tables. So, and you also can insert records into these student entities by clicking these create buttons. So these functions actually pretty similar to the course editions. So you can click this create, then you can insert the student name, student birth date, student country, and every details that's required by the student entities. So, and are you guys with me until here of creating a report with forms, and then differentiate the difference between forms and the report with forms? So no response, then assume that you guys you can understand the difference, and then manage to create forms and then report with forms until here. Then of course you can, sorry, I need to go back to my Apex. I think I closed it by mistakes. So you can access the application that you have created at the forms, the forms and report with forms in your system, and by going to the main page of your Oracle Apex and then click this. So this will be like the one system that you have created named course registration system. So you can click this, and you can just run applications. So this interface, you should be familiar with this interface because we have seen this earlier. And then you can add a forms by clicking this form buttons, and then you can click student listings in this navigation pane to view those records in these student tables. All right. Okay, then this is almost the end of the lab today. So we are going to look at questions 1 of our exercise of the lab today. So exercise 1 asks you to, wait, let me try to, okay. Exercise 1 asks you to run the select statement. And remember that I say that you can run the SQL commands similarly like when you run in SQL developers by going to the SQL workshops here and then choose the SQL commands. So this is where you can run those SQL commands like when you are in SQL developers. And then you can try to select. So this is the command stated in your lab question 1. Then, so for as a revision, so this is column names for in a table named course. And then we give a conditions here. So we are only going to select those records with course category core, and you can run this. So this is pretty similar to what you will get. This is actually identical. Identical to what you will see in your SQL developers. So this is where you can run a SQL commands using this the second options here. Then I'm going to demonstrate how you can create a master details report of format, a master detail page. So you can view the one-to-many relationships between the students and the student course. Remember that the student course is actually the converted entities, and then we have one-to-many relationships between the student and the student course tables. So the first step is to go to the app builders, and you can click the course registration system. You should be able to see here if you successfully created a system name like this. You can click this. Then you can click the create page buttons right here. You can click this. Then you can select the master details like this. You can click the master details. So you click this. And then for this lab, I'm going to show you how you can create only using the stack. Of course, you can play with the side-by-side and then the drill down options. So for this lab, I'm going to show you how you can create a stack in master details. So we are going to use set this as a 5, then give this page a name. I call active students. So we are going to see those students and the course that they have taken. And you can use the breadcrumbs. So this will be enhance the navigation experience. You can go back to the previous page if you have the breadcrumb. And then I will leave this as a default. After this, I can click the next button. Right, so this is pretty similar. It's okay. You can explain yourself the difference between having a breadcrumbs and then without a breadcrumbs, so that you can notice the difference when you didn't have a breadcrumbs. But then for this, I'm going to select the breadcrumbs. After this, you can click next, and then so remember this will allow you to choose whether you want these master details to appear in these navigation pins here. But then I want, so then I can click the create a new navigation menu entry. So this will be the name given to the entries in these navigation pins. And then since I click active students, you should be able to expect that there's another option here, name a active students after I've done creating these master details. Right. So after this, you can click the next button. So this will be the master source. So master source will be like the full name. In this lab, we are going to see the course registered taken by the students. So the student should be in the master source. And we are able to see every student. And then when you click the student, you should be able to see the course, the course taken by the students. And then you can imagine what I said in a bit. You can see what I said after I've done creating these master details. So you can give a name to these master region titles, and then I just use active students so that I can see that those students and the course taken by them. Then remember that we are going to select the tables. So this is actually the necessary step when you are going to create forms or report forms. You need to define the tables for the forms. So in this master source, I'm going to select the student tables. Remember that my purpose is to click the student names and then to see the course taken by the students, right? So then the primary column, you should click a student ID because we have the student ID as the primary key in the student tables. And you should be able to see those columns on the right box here. Every columns in these student tables. Right, so after this, you can click the next button. And this is the detail source. So in this detail source, we are going to see the course taken by the student, right? Every student. And then we are referring to I'm referring actually to the student course tables. And then I give a name to this detail, to these regions, to these detailed regions named course registered. And I'm going to just use a local database. Then I need to select the table or the real names. And then I'm going to click the student course. Right. So because this is the composite entity referencing to the student tables. And then, of course, you have to choose the primary key. Remember that we have composite primary keys here. The first one is student ID, and then the second one is the course code. Then master detail foreign key. Remember that we are referencing to the student tables, and then we should choose student ID. And then these relationships here is basically saying that we are referencing the student ID in this table to the student ID in the student tables. So once you have selected this student course to the tables, and then the primary key, and then the second primary key, and then the referencing integrity, you can click the create buttons. You shouldn't touch anything here yet for this lab today. And then after this, you can click save, and then click the run buttons here. So you should be able to see, okay, probably I need to edit here in a bit for you to see. So let me edit first. You should unhide this one, because by default, the course code will be hidden. And then you can click this and then go to this property panes here and change the type from hidden to probably to display only. You can click this and then give a name to the headings. So this will be the name of the headings, year taken, semester taken. In this tutorial or in these demonstrations, I'm going to just use the course code, right? I should close this first, and then you can click save. Then you can run again. So you should be able to see the course code here. If you don't understand this step, then it's still okay, because I'm going to explain this again in our lab next week. So you can see that when you click this student name, so this will be the student name region 18. So you click this, you should be able to see those course taken by this student named region 18. So in this case, we have only inserted only one course for this student, right? So similarly, you can click this, like the second student name, Zhang Zhi, then you can also see that this student has taken 2 courses, and then the year taken. So this will be actually the attribute that you have defined in this composite entity name student course. And then, of course, you can add rows and then perform the actions like filter data, and you can play with this on your own, right? And then once you have done inserting a student here, then you can click save. So this will simplify your work a lot, because you don't have to use the insert commands or the update commands and then the delete from table commands. So this is basically what you need to learn for the lab this week. And then you can, if you have any questions, then you can ask me before I take your attendance. So do you guys have any questions for the lab today? No response, then I assume everyone can follow until done, until creating the master details. Okay, then for the lab submissions this week, which is due at 11:59 this Sunday, the deadline is actually the same every week. Then you have to submit a questions 1 as what I explained in our lab just now, questions 1. So this, you have to show the screenshots of this, of the place or locations where you can run these select statements or commands in Oracle Apex. You shouldn't run this on your Oracle SQL developers anymore, since we are focusing on Oracle Apex this week. And then for the next questions, you are going to create a master details, as I demonstrate in our lab just now. And then you should be able to tell the difference between either forms and then the report with forms type. So remember, the difference between forms is that between forms and report with forms is that in form we are only allowed to insert records, and then we are not allowed to edit or delete. view those views and records in the tables. And then with report reforms, we are allowed or we are able to do insertions, edit, and then delete, and also views and records in the tables. So this is the main difference between the form type and the report with forms. And then you should be able to do this on your own, since I have shown you creating a master detail page using the stack types. You can play with side by side and then the drill down as well to see which one suits your preference more, right? So this is the end of the lab this week. I'm going to take your attendance. Then you can just let me know if you are here when I call out your name. Then the first one is Alexander Justin Del.
Present, sir.
All right. And the second one is Aloysius Dustin Del.
Yes, sir.
Aris Mofli Mutaki.
Present, sir.
Arya Diva Pradana.
Present, sir.
Then Chong Jiawei.
Yes, sir.
Chong Chin Hui.
Yes, sir.
Next one is Eng Jiaying.
Yes, sir.
And Faida Salim. Are you here, Faisal Salim? Are you with me? Faisal Salim. Okay, I think you're not here. What do you mean by keyboard switches? Maybe when I run the commands in the Oracle Apex, isn't it? I don't remember I use any switches. You should let me know. You should clarify what do you mean by the keyboard switches. The next one is Jesros Oisu Ching.
Yes, sir.
And Kul Muhammad Zafri bin Kul Wasl.
Yes, sir.
Then Li Juntong. Li Zhehui. Lim Yongqing.
Yes, sir.
Logan Naidu Suresh.
Yes, I'm present.
And Lok Kwan Yi.
Yes, sir.
Willie Jin.
Yes, I'm here, sir.
And Manisha Nadiha binti Muhammad Yusuf.
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Akif Hajim bin Muhammad Ilham. Next one is Muhammad Ryan Rashid.
Present.
Muhammad Ali Muhammad Al-Awaki. Are you here, Muhammad Ali Muhammad Al-Awaki? Muhammad Hamad.
Yes, I'm present.
Muhammad Haika bin Chapin.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Muhammad Abdullah Shahid.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Muhammad Aizuddin bin Abdul Rahim. Okay. And Muhammad Fakri Azam bin Muhammad Fazil.
Yes.